guys in the middle that have a chance of changing some things and the way we look at that conference right now. Speaking of Rutgers, they pull out a huge victory in a Big Ten ACC battle, traveling down to Blacksburg, Virginia, taking out Virginia Tech 26-23, a game that they almost blew there at the end. They were up big heading into the fourth quarter in the second half. They were up 23-7 in that fourth quarter. They almost bring it all back. In fact, Virginia Tech even ties the game before Rutgers gets that game-winning field goal with about 2 minutes to go in the game. There were a couple of takeaways for me in this game. First of all, that Virginia Tech offensive line, the Virginia Tech team as a whole was really overrated. Kyron Jones doesn't have a lot of time back there in the pocket to make things happen. He needs a little bit of help from that offensive line. The Rutgers quarterback situation is better than I thought. It's not great. And against a Virginia Tech defense that isn't the greatest, it's not the biggest test. But Kyle Monangai, with his workload, he is Rutgers. They go as he goes. 26 carries in this game, 84 yards and a touchdown. Not the greatest yards per carry, but I mean, when you give a guy 26 carries, he does basically everything you would expect out of him and more. A very impressive win for a Scarlet Knights team that, is another one of those teams in the Big Ten that we should keep an eye on. Maybe they have a chance over there. We talk about a fun game. Kansas falls to West Virginia 32-28. They were up big in that fourth quarter there, blowing on the road. Kansas just can't hold lead. They turn the ball too much. They did a much better job of it in this game, but West Virginia is a very good team. That's the third loss for Kansas, all but eliminating them from out of the playoff race. But they're square back in it again. A huge boost for them this week after a big win in the Big House. Maybe the game of the week, as Utah traveled to Oklahoma State, winning 22-19 without Cam Rising. That's the big one. Cam Rising was expected to play. He did not end up suiting up. This is a very different team with and without Cam Rising. They were still able to pull off a big win against Oklahoma State, a team that's kind of struggled a little bit. Ollie Gordon has not been able to get the same kind of offense that we've been expecting out of him this season, a guy that was getting some Heisman talk at the beginning of the year. Alan Bowman has not been able to step up the way that Oklahoma State needs him to when they need him to do it. He's been inconsistent. There's games where he throws for 400 yards, and there's games where he's way too sloppy with the ball. Against a quality opponent like Utah, against the other quality opponents in the Big 12, that is not going to be enough. Oklahoma State needs to pull off a couple wins. That is a huge leg up for Utah, who without Cam Rising gets a great win. Nico played good football, not great football. Oklahoma is a team I'm a little worried about. Oklahoma is a team that I think is actually pretty overrated. I don't like their offense. They struggle against some of these teams earlier on in the season. I need to see a lot more out of them. I really do. I'm worried about Oklahoma. They fall to Tennessee 25-15. Colorado pulls out a miracle victory against Baylor, a Hail Mary to send it to overtime in the rain before Travis Hunter forces a fumble at the goal line to win it in overtime. If Colorado had lost to Baylor there, we're having a much different conversation, but this Colorado team keeps getting bailed out by high-end talent. It's a fun way to play football. It's not a sustainable way to play football. It's a fun way to play football. I absolutely respect it. I love watching this team. It's not going to get them very far in conversations as far as playoffs go, but Coach Prime gets a huge W here in Baylor. This is exactly what this team needed. Get that momentum going after a big win against rival Colorado State. Keep it up. Maybe they can make some noise in the Big 12 this year. It's kind of cannibalizing itself, like I said. And the last one that I wanted to focus on all the way back to Friday night, Syracuse, a team that I thought was being a little